Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel for other updates. So the last update about Taste of Fate, Rhea finally apologized to Prachi after she was forced to do so. That was after Prachi found her wedding necklace. Then Aliyah sent a goon after Prachi to collect her wedding necklace to teach her a lesson. Let's continue from there. Rhea asked Aliyah with whom she had talked to. She says she was with Pallavi and she was talking. She asked with whom she had told that Prachi left the temple. She asked if she would enjoy alone. Aliyah asked, what did I say yesterday? That I would take revenge from Prachi and I will get her insulted and I will call her careless. Rhea asked that what is Aliyah going to do? Aliyah says this coffee is not good. Rhea asks her to tell her plan. Aliyah says whatever I am going to do, it is outside. She says whenever we do something in the house, the result is always 50-50, as some people are with her. She says what did Prachi said? That you are careless. Aliyah says to Rhea that now you will call Prachi careless when Pallavi asks her about her wedding necklace. Rhea says Prachi will not lose her wedding necklace. Aliyah says she has hired a goon to snatch Prachi's wedding necklace. Rhea asks Aliyah, have you planned the wedding necklace snatching? Aliyah says the goon is a chain snatcher, and Rhea asks Aliyah to call the goon if the work is done. Aliyah asks Rhea to relax and says the work will be done after Prachi visits the temple. Rhea says Yamdor will be waiting for her outside at the temple. Prachi prays to God and says that she has a feeling that something bad is going to happen, and she asks God to take her out from this bad thought and give her strength and courage, and she prays that everything should be good. The priest blesses Prachi to remain married always. Prachi asks the priest to bless her unborn baby. The priest gives Prachi a chunari and blesses her baby. He asks about her husband and blesses him as well. Aliyah calls the goon. The goon says Prachi is coming out of the temple. Aliyah tells Rhea that the good news can come at any time. The other goon joins the goon and they try to snatch Prachi's wedding necklace. Prachi asks who are they. The goon gets down from the bike and asks Prachi to give them a wedding necklace. Prachi shouted, asking the goons to leave her. Ranbir is going from there and he gets down from his car hearing Prachi shouting. The goon asks the other goon to behead Prachi and take out her wedding necklace. Ranbir looks at Prachi and comes inside the temple. He hears Prachi shouting from outside the temple. Ranbir comes there running and hits the goons. The goons falls down. Prachi sees Ranbir and asks, you are here? Ranbir says his flight was missed. Prachi says you did not tell me. Ranbir asks if she will fight now. The goon asks Prachi for her wedding necklace. Ranbir asks Prachi to give her wedding necklace to them, but Prachi refuses. Ranbir asks Prachi to agree and says that they have knife in their hands. Prachi still refuses. Ranbir tells the goons that Prachi is not agreeing, and he offers them the diamond ring, which is worth 3,000. The goon says we want a wedding necklace. Ranbir offers his wallet also, which has cash, credit card, and debit card. The goon still asks for Prachi's wedding necklace, while the other goons agrees to take Ranbir's diamond ring and his wallet. The other goon attacks Prachi to snatch her wedding necklace. Another goon holds Ranbir's hand. Ranbir asks Prachi to give them a wedding necklace, but Prachi still refuses. Ranbir recalls Prachi's words about her wedding necklace. The goon pulls Prachi's wedding necklace. Ranbir gets angry and beats them. He hits the goon. The wedding necklace falls down from the goon's hand. Ranbir beats the goon, while Prachi picks her wedding necklace. Then the goons runs away on the bike. Some people gather there and ask Prachi if she is fine. Ranbir comes there and asks if Prachi is fine. She nods her head that yes, she is about to wear her wedding necklace, but it falls down on her hand. Ranbir picks it up and makes Prachi wear the wedding necklace again. Prachi gets emotional and recalls their marriage. A song plays in the background. Ranbir hugs Prachi and then wipes her tears. Prachi looks at him. The goon talks about Ranbir. The goon says that they should run away else someone might see them. The other goon says that they should take some breath first. Aliyah calls the goon and asks if the work is done. The goon says we are about to snatch the wedding necklace, but some guy came and we couldn't take it. Aliyah refused to give them money and asked them to open the bangle store and wear the bangles. She says I will do your work as you will be wearing bangles. The goon asks Aliyah to be quiet and says he will bring the wedding necklace. He calls the other goon and asks him to come near the temple. Ranbir and Prachi are walking still. Prachi thinks of their hug. Ranbir opens the car's door and makes Prachi sit inside. Prachi holds Ranbir's hand. Ranbir takes back his hand and closes the door. He is about to sit in the car, but the goon comes there and hits rod on his head. Prachi shouted Ranbir and get down from the car. The goon started hitting Ranbir with the rod. Prachi shouted for help and cries. Ranbir snatches the rod from the goon and started beating them. They hit Ranbir and he falls down on the ground. The goons try to snatch Prachi's wedding necklace again and they get it. Ranbir gets up and beats them again. Prachi asks Ranbir to leave the wedding necklace. Ranbir beats the goons and get back the wedding necklace. He beat up the goons and asks Prachi to sit in the car fast. Another goon comes and asks Ranbir to give them the wedding necklace. Prachi asks Ranbir to give them, but Ranbir refuses. The goon stabs Ranbir with a knife on his stomach. Prachi shouted Ranbir. She takes the brick and hits on the goon's head. She takes the knife and says that I told you that I will break your hand if you touch my husband. Prachi asks them to come if they have courage. She slits the goon's hand and warns them not to touch her husband or her wedding necklace. The goon says Prachi has gone mad. Take me to the hospital. They run away. Prachi screams and shouted for help. She says they have lost the car keys and pleaded in front of everyone to save her husband and take him to the hospital. Ranbir watches Prachi pleading to the people on the road. The people refuse to help her, fearing the police case. Prachi comes back to Ranbir and asks him not to faint. Prachi pleaded with the people on the road to take them to the hospital. A guy refused, fearing the police. Prachi says she would handle the police, but the guy still refused. Prachi runs back to Ranbir and asks him not to faint. She says she will call mommy. She calls Pallavi, but Pallavi doesn't pick the call, saying that it is Prachi. She thinks that every fight happens in the house due to Prachi. Vikram asks Pallavi to pick the call, but Pallavi refused. Prachi says, mommy, please pick the call. She calls her again, but Pallavi disconnects the call. Prachi asks the people to help her and save her husband. She calls the ambulance and asks them to come near the temple. She says, save my husband. She sees Ranbir fainting and shouted, no. Pallavi says nobody will disturb you now. Vikram asks Pallavi to think what she has become and what she was before, and says you need to have clarity. Pallavi says you need it. You cannot decide who is good, Rhea or Prachi. She goes behind Vikram. Prachi cries and asks the people to help her. A lady comes there and asks the people to call the taxi. Prachi takes Ranbir in the taxi and promises not to fight with him. She asks him to talk to her and says, I am your chick and Prachi. She says, I would agree to your sayings. I will go out with you and I will never question you. She cries. Grandma searches for her medicines. Shahana says you will find it. Grandma says she is feeling bad that she has to call Prachi to ask about her medicine. Prachi picks the call and cries. She asks her to reach the city hospital. Grandma asks if she is fine. Prachi tells Grandma that someone has stabbed Ranbir and he is bleeding. She says she is taking him to the city hospital. Grandma is shocked. Vikram and Pallavi comes there. Grandma drops the phone and informs them that Ranbir is stabbed. They rush to the hospital. Prachi rushes Ranbir to the hospital. She tells the nurse that she will do the paperwork later and asks them to take Ranbir for treatment. She asks where is the doctor. The doctor comes there. Prachi says some people stabbed her husband. The doctor says he will check and asks her to go out. Prachi goes out and looks at Ranbir through the window pane. The doctor asks the nurse to make the arrangement of the operation. The doctor comes out and asks Prachi to sign on the NOC form required for the operation. He says he cannot wait until she signs, as even a minute is important. The nurse asks Prachi to get the papers from the reception. The doctor says we need your verbal permission and asks if we should start the operation. Prachi nods her head that yes. All the family members reach the hospital. The nurse asks the receptionist to give the consent form so that Prachi can sign for Ranbir's operation. Rhea asks the nurse that what did you say? The nurse says someone has stabbed Ranbir coldly on his chest, below his heart, and he is critical. Pallavi slaps Prachi. Vikram asks why did you slap her? Pallavi blames Prachi. Grandma asks Pallavi to hear what Prachi wants to say. Pallavi refuses to listen and says Ranbir is my son. I have given birth to him and I will take the decision of his life. She says only she will take the decision of his life. She says that she has fulfilled many manners and visited the temples for his safety. She asks who gave you the right to take the responsibility of my son. Pallavi asks Prachi that who are you and says only I can take the decision of his life. Prachi says I can understand what you are going through. Pallavi asks how do you know? Did you ever get pregnant? Was your pregnancy ever been complicated? Did you give birth to any baby? And have you ever taken up a responsibility of any baby for 27 years? Pallavi says to Prachi that when you have no emotions of being a mother, then how do you know? She says you will say that you are his wife, but your 7 rounds cannot be bigger than my 9 months. She says I will not let anyone sign on the consent form. She tells Aliyah why Prachi has come in our lives and why do they give birth to Prachi. She says Ranbir has seen sorrow since Prachi came into his life. First, Ranbir used to fight for his happiness, and now he is fighting for his life. Rhea asks Prachi to go home and celebrate and asks her not to make them cry more. Prachi says enough and says she will hear whatever mother says, but she will not hear from her illegal second wife. Pallavi says you cannot talk to Rhea like this. Grandma asks Pallavi to be quiet. Pallavi asks Grandma to ask Prachi to leave. Grandma says to Pallavi that I don't want to argue. If you think that Rhea is right, then I think that Prachi is right. Pallavi asks if Prachi is important than Ranbir. Prachi says whatever she did was. Pallavi cut her short and says you don't have any emotions and you will do this with every mom. The nurse comes there and gives the consent form. Pallavi says it will not be signed. The doctor comes out and refuses to operate on Ranbir. He says I started the operation with your verbal permission, else no operation would have started without consent form. Vikram asks the doctor to operate Ranbir. The doctor says there is no chance of his survival without the operation. Prachi asks for pen. The doctor says this is not formality, but a big responsibility. You give your loved one's life in a doctor's hand, and we save the patient due to your trust on us. Vikram gives Prachi the pen. Rhea asks Pallavi if she should sign. Pallavi says let Prachi sign. Prachi signs on the consent form. The doctor takes it and goes. Prachi looks at Ranbir through the window pane and cries. Pallavi pushes Prachi away and looks at Ranbir. The doctor started the operation. Rhea asks Pallavi to stop crying and says nothing would happen to Ranbir. I trust God fully. Pallavi asks Rhea. Prachi asks Shahana and cries. Vikram looks at Ranbir through the window pane and recalls their moment together. Prachi thinks of Ranbir's words and she cries. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and please subscribe to this channel for more updates, as I usually drop updates constantly, at least. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.